guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we have What We Devour by Linsey. So this was a book we got in the Beacon box, I believe. The second book that was in a box from the main one. So this book was actually quite interesting. I was liking the way it was sounding. A girl who basically is trying to keep hidden from her identity until some prince comes in, recognises her and wants her help to take away the void, pretty much. And I was like, okay, I'm into that. This cover is amazing. Before we get into the bit, so here's a little bit of a synopsis. Sometimes you have to bite the hand that feeds you. Lorraine Adler has a secret. She holds the power of banishing the gods, the nobles, and the vile inside her. She has hidden her entire life, both from the world and from her past. She intends to spend her days as an undertaker in a small town, marry her best friend Julian, and live an unfulfilling life so long as no one uncovers her true nature. But when naughty, bloodthirsty crown prince comes to arrest Julian's father, he immediately recognises Lorraine for what she is. So she makes a deal, a fair trial of her betrothed father in exchange for her service to the crown. The prince is desperate for her help. He spent years trying to repair the weakening door that holds back the vial, and he's losing the battle. As Lorraine learns more about the door and the horrifying price it takes to keep it closed, she has to embrace both parts of herself to survive. I don't know if that's actually how you say her name, Lorraine. I'm just saying that's what it looks like. So, let's get into these little tabbies. So, first of all, we do love a good map in a book. Look at this map. This is so beautiful. This is the mouth of the River of the God, capital Cyrilla. Tells us a little bit of stuff on there as well. I do love that. So each of the little part ones, it has, they have like these. So mouth like light. If you can't tame your demons, set them free. What kind of tagline is that? Gee, that's something that you should. If someone came up with that and went here, a subscription box, put it even on a print or something like that, and I recognise that. That's something to recognise. Oh, so if I sound really odd, I have got a cold. So then we have this little line in the chapter. It says, take blood and a good memory of his mother from the hair, and destroy what makes them repair themselves, I pray. And if that isn't enough, take blood, enough to kill him. Not enough to kill him. If you need more, take it from the others. Don't kill anyone. So, there's that. And then the second chapter, part 2, was just this. T-Flex stars. If they love you, they'll come back. That's like... Oh. It is signed by the author as well, by the way. So this was like an intense book to read from, and I actually really enjoyed it. Stay down. That's not going to stay down. Okay. Like... Nope. That'll do. So, protagonist is Lorraine lives in a post-apocalyptic world in which humans long ago threw over their immortal, entranced the noble the vials by consuming them to take their magic, which later lead to the birth of the noble ward and the fire ward. Descendants who are born with the ability to use magic through sacrifice, the fragments of the immortal spirit residing in them. The former sacrifice from themselves to power their magic, and the latter use sacrifices from others, leading to strict binding put in place by the court and council to ensure they unleash and under control perform only improved forms of magic. However, Lorraine has remained under the radar, growing up in the Wallows, where her mother toiled under poor working conditions that caused her eventual death. Then later moved into a small town known as the Hollow, the better to keep her dangerous secret hidden from those in power. She's a dual Walt, meaning she's not able to use both noble or vile magic, so it seems. She's story begins when Laurel's long-held secret is discovered by the heir to the crown, Alistair. Oh, I can never say his surname right. It's Alistair Roslane. Either he witnesses in her using her ability to deter the soldiers who came to Featherhill to serve a sacrifice warrant on her fiance's father. Alistair is a dangerous fellow, right? Feared by the people auxiliary of destroying the free will of 4,000 people as a children in order to crush a rebellion now that he has Lorraine in his sight, he won't give up on her. The Hare is determined to whisk her back to capture Celine so she can assist him with the experience to shut down the door behind which Last of the Veil are in prison. And while Lorraine is reluctant to work with him, she has a little choice if she wants her help for a future father-in-law and avoid being a sacrifice to the door for the good of the great nation. I was just even listening to that, and as I was reading it, the book did get more intense to her, and I was like, oh my god, she's just living a normal life, she doesn't want anyone to find out, and then this happens. It's like punch to the stomach, like what? So I originally put this down after struggling with the beginning just for a bit, but I did want to pick it back up. I devoured the book overnight. I haven't been able to start thinking about it ever since then. It's like when what was the other book? The Shadow Between Us. That was the first book I ever read. That was by Trisha Levenseller. It was a book that I literally read in one sitting, one night. I could not go to sleep without reading the rest. I had to find out what next. This was another book. I literally continued reading it. I was like, wow, I need to continue on. I did not want to move. So, where did I get to? Lorraine is strongly opinionated about the despicable of the Crown and the Council and the Common Court, all of whose plays value on human lives and determine which count as acceptable losses. In the beginning, she is limited in power for all those she wants, and the story processes with her at Alice's side. She gains social prestige and begins moving in upper tiers of austerity, leading her to deliberately over how best to use her newfound power to change the status quo now she gains access to the ruling class. This is a book, what you think, will have thinking deep thoughts about power, who is best suited to exercise it, and which is justified to will power at another person's expense. Clearly, this is a rot, of course, in its social structure, but it's Lorraine's right to strike it down and exact a new order in place. So, one more deliciously aspect of this book, in this cat and mouse relationship between Lorraine and Alistair, which completely upends the usual dynamic between dark, arrogant princes and the regular down-to-earth girls that is traditionally depicted in YA books. What can you say, right? So given as his position as royalty, Alistair obviously starts off with his upper hand, but Lorraine's cunning tilts the scales in her favour as she subtly manipulates, I can't say that word, him into seeing from her point of view. It's things of beauty which her work her wiles, especially as Alistair is aware to extend for what she's attempting, but described by the author, he's empathetic and curious enough to let her scheme play out to see where they lead. They have a beautiful, cutthroat, romantic dynamic that is even more precious because how respect Lorraine's sexuality is. She is reluctant, intense, drawn to Alistair as she becomes close to his monstrous, misunderstood villain. Most unexpectedly, he turns out to be someone who truly sees her and understands her, who respects her for who she is and what she's capable of, who appreciates what she's willing to give him and doesn't push her against her boundaries. This scene together has a razor-sharp tension and yet also a stark sweetness that asks the reader to invest in them, to root for this unlikely pair, find their happy end in the midst of the turmoil and unrest. A dark and broody fantasy with a more sexual heroine and a charismatic villain prince. A diverse secondary characters in a broken world steeped in gloomy and on a collision course with an ominous history. Readers can enjoy these rich, complex characters, difficult moral quantities, and the pinnacle of intrigue with relishing sinking their teeth into this book. Like I said, I did not want to put this book down because it was so good. And I literally, guys, when I say it was good, it was good. If you have not read this yet, read it and let me know what you think. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Peace.